Inside Blitz week number 5. Let's get right to it, Ted from Sports USA. What games are you working on this week, and what else do you have to say?
Good to see you guys. So we got Pittsburgh at Buffalo, the first of our doubleheader on Sports USA, and at Sports USA Live on Twitter. And then Philadelphia at Arizona will be the second half of our doubleheader. I got a chance to talk to Alex Highsmith. We'll hear from him in a minute from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And one of the things that is a concern here are the injuries, big time for both teams. You got secondary issues going, but the good news today, Minka Fitzpatrick is back for the Steelers. So it's good to get their safety, and they're going to need that defensive backfield against this Buffalo Bills offense. What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, I was waiting for that news too, and we got it about 45 minutes before we're recording this because they just can't function without him because he's in the right spot every single play. He seems to be making plays just like Jordan Poyer. When we get deep into the game, Jordan Poyer is that kind of player. If he's not on the field last week with the 2 interceptions, including the game-saving interception, Baltimore beats Buffalo, and he won't be on the field in this game. Either will tight end Dawson Knox. So I hate the fact that we keep talking about injuries, but boy, they're piling up.
Yeah, it's really bad. And, obviously the story of the week here is Kenny Pickett takes over after getting his stint the last week in the loss, but for Pittsburgh. And one of the things is that, we look at, they had 3 interceptions, and really when you watch all 3 of them, they weren't that bad. There were some desperation throws and, and a Hail Mary in there. So it wasn't like he was awful. But it's all going to come down to, okay, it's your baby now. And probably from now on, once you start him, it's got to be his job, I would think. And certainly it's going to be fascinating to see what he goes against a really good Bills defense, even though they're banged up.
Well, they may be calling him Kenny Pick after the way he finished the game. No?
Kenny Pick 6, hopefully not.
The injury situation and the look ahead situation make this and the new quarterback situation make this a very difficult game to handicap. I don't think we should spend a lot of time on it, quite frankly. As far as my thoughts on the game, I laid a token bet on the minus 13.5 just because the metrics come out that this line should be lined significantly higher. But I don't want to put a lot of money behind it because I don't know what team's going to show up. Buffalo's missing, the number 1 guy in the NFL for interceptions. They're banged up all over the place. I'm sure they want to just get in and get out healthy. And Pittsburgh, who knows what's going to happen with this team? You've got players already saying that they're in a rebuilding mode. You've got Tomlin kind of like a little befuddled with the quarterback situation. Have no idea what's going to go on.
Yeah, defensively. Go ahead, Ron.
Now, there's lots more variance in this game when you put in a rookie quarterback, and that's what we have to deal with if we're looking at a double-digit line. I want to say this before passing it back to Ted and then later giving you my thoughts on the game. I had to cross-check you, Chris, because I didn't believe you on one of the stats. So I only went back 2021. Double-digit favorites, according to my numbers, were 29-19 against the spread last year.
Wow.
And that's almost unprecedented. And Chris had hinted that double-digit favorites are doing much better over the last few years. So I just checked last year. 29-19 is pretty impressive.
Oh, let me pull that data up for you, you rookie.
Yeah, Ron, I've been talking about this for years. It's like, whatever it is, just go the other way and you're going to win a nice chunk of the time, right?
Yeah, but I have to tell you, I know Chris said that he laid the 13.5 and so on. My metrics are a little bit different, and I have both Chris and I, for some similar reasons and also a few different reasons, look forward to week 5 more than any other in the NFL because we're both turning over our stats to 2022. And week 5 indicators have typically been very strong with high sample sizes. And they point me in the direction of Pittsburgh, which is scary. having the indicator for this particular game. So Chris and I will have a little bit of disagreement. It's not a big play or anything remotely where I want it to be with having a rookie quarterback in there. But one other factor is that Buffalo and KC play next week. And that's just a monster game. If you remember what happened last year in the playoffs and the 13 seconds and so on. And what we're going to see next week, thankfully, is going to be nothing like what anybody saw last night. It's going to be real football. And maybe Pittsburgh does want to, or maybe Buffalo does want to get in and get out of this game. And if they do, it's going to be closer to a 10-point game.
Yeah.
Let me follow up with your comment on the double-digit favorites, because I've got the data here. I had Ralph Michaels. I'll give him credit for pulling this data up for me. We have not seen a year of double-digit favorites that have not made money, surprisingly enough. I used to weed out anything that was over 7 points. Because when I first started doing it, double-digit favorites didn't do very well. So, and then in the interim, it kind of shifted. So I am willing to bet them now. But, just for the last few years, 59%, 57%, 57%, 64%, 58%, 79%, 58%, 56.5%. You've got to go all the way back to 2013 that a double-digit favorites did not make money. So I bet you guys didn't know that.
How the hell was it 79% one year? Is that just a small sample size that year?
It was 11-3. There were only there was 14 double-digit dogs, and 11, 3-1.
That's incredible.
Well, you can see that if I had a sample size of 48 last year, there wasn't parity. There were really good teams and some really bad teams. And going against those really bad teams have tended to work based on Chris's data and Ralph Michaels, who does a great job with data.
Yeah, do you guys have a specific reason at all that stands out why the big turnaround? Because it never used to be this way.
I think the haves and the have-nots have kind of separated a little bit. Also, I think it's sort of like an urban legend that you're not supposed to bet double-digit dogs. So people take the points more often in the NFL, and the NFL is becoming a little bit, like college, where the blowouts are not as rare as they used to be.
Yeah,
something feels different about this year so far, though. Let's see how this year pans out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the two factors that I would say, because scoring has gone up, offenses are favored in terms of the referees and everything else, everything for scoring. If you have more variance, you're going to have more variance in game results, which helps double-digit favorites. And it's a war of attrition out there. Unfortunately, there are some GMs who can't stock a roster that can survive injuries or suspensions or anything else. And so when teams run out of players, that's a problem.
Yeah, it really is.
Did you want to run the Hightower interview?
Yeah. Highsmith, Alex Highsmith. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to him was because of the fact that big 0-7 number for the Steelers without TJ Watt over the last couple of years, and they're 0-3 this year. And Highsmith's come through. He's their leading sacker right now, and I'm sure that's a part of the whole thing. So you got to give him a lot of credit. So, yeah, go ahead and play that.
I'm a little disappointed. I thought you said Hightower from the Police Academy movies.
No.
All right. Well,
good try, though.
Here we go.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. First, after winning the season opener, which happened to be heard right here on Sports USA, wondering how tough has it been to lose 3 straight, specifically that last one against the Jets?
Yeah, it's definitely tough, especially when you get off to such a good start like we did against the Bengals. I think it's just important to continue to get back to that. It's definitely tough when you lose 3 games in a row, especially 2 at home. And so this week we just got to come out with an attack mindset like we had that first week, was really start fast and finish strong. That's the thing that got us beat these last 3 games. We didn't finish strong, so we just got to be able to finish this game.
Coach Tomlin talked about it, and I want to get your feeling from a player's standpoint, the kind of spark that Kenny Pickett replaced Trubisky in last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kenny did a great job. I feel like he was prepared for the moment. He came in and, did a great job for us, and I just look forward to just seeing him grow because I feel like he's a mature guy, plays with swag, and so I'm excited to see the way that he grows this week.
You face these guys every day in practice. I'm wondering the growth from a rookie quarterback since he first walked into camp. How have you seen that?
Yeah, just becoming more mature and vocal, I think. I think, a lot of rookies when they come in, they're quieter guys, but I feel like, Kenny has become so much more of a vocal leader, as the time has passed, going through camp into now. So it's been cool to just see that way that he's growing, not just intellectually with the game, but also as a leader.
Yeah, interesting you use the word mature because that's sort of the way he comes across to us who don't know him, that he's more mature for a guy his age and showing how confident he is already as a leader.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what you want. I think he's done a good job of showing that so far. He's a guy that you want to be around. So, like I said, I'm excited to see him grow and watch him do his thing this week. Great.
We're with Pittsburgh linebacker Alex Highsmith. Describe the loss of a T.J. Watt and how that affects your squad on and off the field.
Yeah, definitely sucks to lose a guy like T.J. Best in the world of what he does. It sucks to lose a guy like him. But, Coach telling all his pitchers the standard is a standard here. And so I think we got capable guys who are willing to step up in his absence. So we just got to keep building, got to keep getting better. This will be a big week for us to get pressure on the quarterback in his absence.
I'm thinking, considering how you lead the team in sacks now, especially without TJ, how much do you take it upon yourself to get that job done?
I just try to go out there and put my best foot forward every game. Continue to perfect my craft during practice. Continue to help the other guys who are stepping up in his place and just continue to be a leader for this team. I feel like, I stepped up in more of a leadership role this year, and so I'm excited to just continue to get better and grow every game.
Couple more things. You're really up against one of the best offenses in the league this week. So standout challenges in facing Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and company.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge. I feel like we're up for it. But like you said, Josh Allen is one of the best in today's game. He can throw it. He's very versatile with his legs. He's fast and strong. So we got to do a good job of containing him and keeping him in the pocket and also denying Diggs as well and the rest of the receivers. So I think it starts with us up front by just getting after him and keeping him in the pocket just like we did last year.
And finally, it seems really strange to say the Steelers are 2-touchdown underdogs. How does that affect you in the gut?
I think it's just motivation because we know the type of team that we can be and know what we are. And, I know these last 3 games haven't shown that, and so, but we know the type of team we are. We know that we can be that same team that came out, against the Bengals, week 1. And so it was just an extra chip on our shoulder. So I look forward to just coming in and just competing and getting after it.
Well, there you go. That's Alex Highsmith. And I want to get Ron's thoughts on Kenny Pickett, what he thought of him as a quarterback at Pitt and being able to, the quick transition into, hey, I'm a young rookie and I'm ready to go here in the NFL. He, to me, and I've been watching him closely and listening to his interviews, he acts and looks older than he is. Do you know anything about that part of him?
No, of course he played in the building.
Yeah, of course.
Nearby, so he just had to go to the other locker room. Yeah. So, I mean, for him, that extra year of college, his stats rose astronomically, and he grew and matured as a player. He also got more comfortable getting out of the pocket. He actually broke some runs. So his confidence level soared, and it made his whole body of work very compatible to coming in if he needed to in the NFL as a rookie, which we knew, given the situation at Pittsburgh, that he would have to do. Will there be growing pains? You better believe it. You saw it in the first game. Yep. When he didn't look off wide receivers, he threw into coverage. It's just going to happen. Rookies, the best of them, the Peyton Mannings, the Troy Aikmans, went through miserable rookie seasons. And, the future could be bright. Pittsburgh knows how to build a roster. They're well coached. It's just going to be some growing pains. His maturity, I see it, and it adds to the equation moving forward.
Yeah, big time. And by the way, is Kenny Pickett the only rookie quarterback in the history of the league to throw 16 passes with no incompletions. Of course, 3 of them are picks.
I wasn't aware of that. Thanks.
I hadn't heard that either.
Yes, he was 13 for 13 to his own team and 3 for 3 to the other team. So anyway.
I think we're gonna get fined by YouTube if we talk about Buffalo Pittsburgh 14-point spread game any longer.
Okay.
Let's move on. Let's go. This game's a little bit more interesting, a little bit more undercurrent sort of stories with the Eagles and the Cardinals. Obviously, the Eagles are firing on all cylinders. Arizona, they've got problems. We expected them to get out of the gate early, like they had in years past, and they are just on fumes coming out. The first quarters and second quarters. So they've been absolutely abysmal. I mean, I'll give my immediate take on this game. The Eagles are averaging 23 points per game in the first half. Arizona is averaging 4 in the first half.
So you like a first half play?
So I had to play Philadelphia -3. It's the banana in the tailpipe play, I called it, where you look at this, it looks so easy. Some way, somehow Arizona will cover. But I'm falling for the banana in the tailpipe, and I'm taking Philadelphia -3 in the first half. What do you guys have to say about this game?
Well, one of the things that I continue to harp on is one of the key issues for me is Arizona's head coach is not up to the task on a regular basis. Okay, they find ways to do things the wrong way, and a lot of that is up to the coaching staff. Okay, obviously you don't have DeAndre Hopkins. You're waiting for him to come back, and a couple of other bodies on offense specifically. But Kyler Murray is limited because he has to run around and do his thing, and that's fine. But they have got to figure out a way to tighten things up. And when they need to make some decisions, they need to be better. You cannot be a high caliber team and lose 7 straight at home in the National Football League. And that's exactly where the Cardinals are right now. And everybody's talking about on the team, oh, well, a lot of that was last year. Well, guess what? 3 of them are this year already. So 2 of them, I'm sorry. So there's no excuse. What do you think, Rob?
So I appreciate, Ted, that you're taking my role. You got these stats coming out, and that's wonderful with the home field, and it's not much of a home field for Arizona.
No.
We've got, Buffalo we talked about already. Now we're talking about Philadelphia, 2 of the best built organizations. When they need something, they identify their needs and they go out and get it. And that's what happened in August and September. And all of a sudden, only a 4-week sample, but Philly has the best pass defense in the NFL by percentage, allowing 56%. That automatically means Kyler Murray is going to have to wing it to get going. They also have 16 defensive sacks. On the other side of the coin, you got the Cardinals with 4 defensive sacks, which is 32nd and last in the NFL. I like what Philadelphia is doing. Hurts is really smart. I've said this before. He's not absolutely at the top of elite accuracy. He's more than competent, and he gets the job done. He may have his way in this one against a 68% defense. I have no metrics that have me going on either side of the game. That's why I'm glad Chris had an opinion that we could share with others. To me, it comes right on the number, but Arizona is going to have to play better on both sides of the ball in order to compete.
How do you get this game on the number?
How do I get it? Just came out. Backdoor cover. Arizona is open.
How? This game should not be on the number.
Well, that's good. I like the fact that we're agreeing to disagree. Not that I'm disagreeing. I'm just saying I don't have anything that sways me one way or another.
Wow, the metrics clearly align with Philadelphia in this game. The problem we have is obviously they're on the road. It's a look-ahead game. They've got Dallas on deck, and they're going to want to get in and get out of Dodge some way, somehow, with the fewest amount of injuries and problems. And that's kind of and obviously they're due for a little bit of regression. So I think that if you're an Arizona backer, you're getting ripped off. You should be getting more points. And that's my opinion. I don't know how you could have this game right on the number.
Well, I stressed during one of our preseason tapings here that to me, maybe the key guy in the NFC who had to show he was up to the task was Jalen Hurts. And he's doing it. But he's doing it within a perfect team concept. He's not doing it because he's so fantastic. He's doing it because they lead the league in rush TDs. So, I mean, that tells you a lot right there. They're doing whatever it takes. And Sirianni's doing a hell of a job. He's turning out to be a good players coach. We'll see, exactly how he is down the road. Certainly when there are big games, how he is as an actual X's and O's guy when it really matters and big decisions. But right now, they put together a really solid team in a really below average division. So good for them. And they're off to it. I mean, you can't ask for anything more out of this team right now.
Yeah, I agree completely.
But I think, one thing that you have to consider, I've been to that stadium and there's no home field. That's literally the deadest stadium experience I've ever experienced with a crowd ever. I mean,
well, you know what? It's going to be a similar issue it's like for the Chargers, for example. The Chargers don't belong in LA and they don't have that many fans here. So it's always going to be a problem until, who knows, maybe a decade from now, maybe that'll change, but it's not going to be that way for a while. Arizona, they're all transplants. So, it's not like, wow, we got to love our Cardinals. No, it's probably 50%. And the rest, there might be, 40% from Philadelphia there. It's just that's the way it is, the way of the land. And you got to deal with it.
We done with this game, guys?
That's all I got.
All I know is if the Eagles go to 5-0, that I don't think any of us saw for sure. But you know what? Good start for them. And they've taken advantage of a schedule that's it's gone their way. What can I say?
Ron, I'm falling asleep. I need you to prop us up. Give us some props.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to talk about last night's game.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great game for me. I middled it, so I was.
Oh, good for you. Or you're the only one watching at the end.
I didn't watch a single play.
You're smart.
Yeah.
I was working the whole time.
It was a good game financially, but I'm not sure it was worth the wait. Last week, first episode of Prop It Up, missed on the Josh Allen prop, did everything else correctly, so I'm happy with that. I was all prepared to give you my takes on how Buffalo would exploit Pittsburgh without Fitzpatrick there. Now, when Fitzpatrick was announced as in, I'm not going to give too much out on that particular game. I'm going to focus on Philly and Arizona. I'm going to focus on Rondale Moore. Traditionally, he's used underneath. He gets some of his yards. They try to make sure that he gets in space and he gets out there and he breaks a big one. Again, we talked about Philadelphia's pass defense has stiffened up 56%. There are a lot of other weapons that Arizona uses. Murray's going to be running around, scrambling around. So 5 out of 16 times he beat the number posted last year, 38.5%. 38.5 rushing, all over the place, 38.5 receiving yards. In the one game he's played this year, he had 3 catches for 11 yards. So it's not the number of catches I want to focus on, but I'm recommending an under 38.5 receiving yards for Rondale Moore as Prop It Up week 5.
Excellent.
Just one prop?
Just one.
All right.
There you go. Hey, as long as it wins, load up, baby.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Maybe there'll be more.
I asked for some Discord. We've got a Discord channel that's free. And I asked for some questions since we've been so busy. We wanted to spice this up with a few more topics rather than just the 2 Friday games. Quickly, favorite gambling movies to watch this weekend. What comes to mind? One, come on.
8 Men Out, John Sayles.
Ted.
One of the
gambling movie? I can't. What was the old one? The one made in Vegas back in the 90s.
Leaving Las Vegas?
Oh, no, Casino.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, Casino.
Ron, you might have this. If it's a short story though. Funniest story of how you were told you were banned from a book or a bet that would not be taken. I know you've told me a bunch of these stories.
Yeah.
Is there a really bad, ugly one?
I would need more time to think about it, but I will say I shared Ted an email I got, and it was written like the person was in third grade or something like that. They couldn't string a few words together, but somehow they basically said your plays are no longer welcome. So
I can tell you that I've had it's really annoying even with the US legal shops, because I had a really good relationship with one book and I was working with them. And I would always ask, if there's anything you don't like, just let me know. I don't need to have this stuff. And the guy was encouraging me to bet his money lines because he needed to kind of level off his action. And that's all I did. And unfortunately, I just kept on winning. And all of a sudden my app was off. And this guy that was texting me in easy contact, was ghosting me for a period of time, gave me no advance notice. That was kind of frustrating.
Wow.
So that's the most recent experience that I have.
I think they've been banning Ron because of all the different old hats that he wears. What do you think?
I don't know about that. I've only been banned from 2 places this year, but I'm running out of places.
It's only week 5.
I know.
Wow.
Well, what's the bad part of being banned, and if anybody is playing offshore in various places, I'm not talking about like a legitimate place like Bookmaker or Bet Online, but like the PPHs and stuff that goes through agents or just small time books, you don't want to be putting futures in there because if you do get banned, you're going to lose out, because if you're winning those futures, they're just going to wipe them out. Say, we're canceling your futures. If you're losing the futures, then they'll keep them, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Yeah, I've had stand-up places, no longer in the U.S. now, like Five Dimes and stuff, say, we're canceling your out, we're letting you go, but all your bets are valid.
Thank God for that.
I got nothing else. You guys got anything else?
Well, I just want to bring up next week's doubleheader on Sports USA. We got Baltimore at the Giants, and the Giants will be coming off their London game where so far they've never lost. They're 2-0 in the UK, and they're playing the Packers this week. And Carolina at the Rams, which I thought would be a little better matchup there at the beginning of the year. Right now, I don't even know if Carolina belongs in the league. And will Matt Rule still be the head coach even by next week? Who the heck knows?
On that note, I heard a stat on the Herd this morning that Baker is the 32nd rated quarterback, and he's like the 20 and the 31st is like significantly better. I mean, he's just that bad.
Yeah, well, be careful with Cowherd though, because former Vegas guy, by the way. That's where I first met him, when he was doing sales and filling in play-by-play for the old Las Vegas Stars about 40 years ago. But he is obviously, you can't stand Baker Mayfield. He never could. And so if he gets that opportunity to stress that he is the last rated at anything, he's going to mention it. And look,
I have 3 quick thoughts that either you guys can respond to or just to leave with our listeners. First, biggest watch for me is how the Rams respond to what happened on Monday night in front of everybody. How do they come back from that? Secondly, game with sneaky impact. The Chargers, most banged up team in the league, against Cleveland. It might have tiebreaker implications when all is said and done. They may not win their divisions, but they're certainly capable of being playoff bound. If they end up tied, this game decides it. And then the last thought, brand new role. When's the last time the Jags were 7 or 7.5 point favorites?
Unbelievable.
I mean, it matches.
No.
Yeah, I mean, they here they are against Houston, and they're supposed to win. Let's see how they handle it with the new staff. I mean, everything looks good, but until you do it, those are my closing thoughts.
They were favored by 7 within the last year or two against Houston at home, and I think they lost outright.
I think that was 2 years ago. Yeah, and I have the other game I'm looking at on the periphery for the importance is Miami at the Jets, because no Tua, but Miami's still favored, And that's going to be an interesting game just from an AFC East standpoint, and maybe a wild card team down the road. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, divisional
I
games
agree.
matter.
That Chargers Browns game is going to be really interesting. They might get Clowney back in addition to Garrett.
Garrett's back.
It's going to be that's a really interesting game. I've got a video free play out there on that game. I like a lot, and I agree with you. The Rams. It's going to be really interesting to see how much of them, how they show up. Kupp is the only, or Cooper Rush is the only quarterback with enough qualified throws to have not thrown an interception. So, he's been playing pretty well. It's a look-ahead game for Dallas, short week for the Rams, and very interesting game. I think it's a much better game than people are making it out to be.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm curious, Ron's thoughts on Cooper Rush and what you knew about him leading up into this, because I certainly didn't know much, and he's doing a hell of a lot better than anybody else expected, except for Jerry Jones always thinks his backup is the greatest guy who ever lived. So
yeah, I had this conversation with Chris during the week. At first, I gave a certain amount of points downgrade from Dak Prescott to Cooper Rush. And then I researched him, and his resume is such that he doesn't take sacks and he doesn't throw interceptions. So none of this is surprising. He plays within the system. The more tape that's going to be out on him, the more they're going to contain him, and that offense is going to slow to a grind.
Yeah,
we'll see if that happens this week with the short week for the Rams. I think this is a get-well potential spot for the Rams if they have their heads on straight. But Cooper Rush doesn't lose a game for you, and there's probably 15 quarterbacks in the NFL that lose games for you.
Right. So he's a perfect backup.
Well,
yeah,
the Rams,
absolutely.
The Rams are going to be in trouble. They're hoping to get their two offensive linemen back for this game. And if they don't, Dallas, they're facing potentially the best defense last week and the second best defense this week, back-to-back weeks. And that's got to be rough on them. So
yeah, I agree.
I think that'll do it for us. We appreciate everybody joining us, and we will be back on Tuesday, I think. So everybody have a great and profitable weekend. Cheers.